Namaskar and very good morning. As a part of knowledge series from Grow Excel, today we listen from Dr. Jayant Deshpande. Dr. Jayant Deshpande is highly knowledgeable yet very simple personality. He is serving our industry for more than 3 decades, including Godrej Feeds and as a freelance consultant, and he gave umpteen number of seminars across the country for layer and breeder farmers. Whenever I see him, I get a reassurance. Yes, knowledge is the power. Let us today get some tips from Dr. Jayant Deshpande regarding breeder management. Welcome you, sir. Welcome you all. And over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Manjunath and GoExcel for giving me an opportunity to present a few tips on breeder management. I'm overwhelmed to give some insight onto the breeder farms, breeder management, which is very critical these days in terms of improving the performance and reducing the cost of production and maintaining the flocks in good conditions. So coming to breeder management, there are a few important tips to be noted to get a better performance because these are the high yielding breeders, and they are also very fragile in terms of managing them, and management really needs good care of these breeders to get them into proper productivity. The first critical thing is brooding. So brooding is the key for one, not only the body development, the brooding, the proper brooding also ensures that it is related to egg production. So normally many customers make a mistake of not brooding the birds properly. And whenever brooding is not done properly, such flocks do not perform very well. So brooding is very important, whether it is a layer, broiler or breeder, brooding is necessary. See, brooding helps in improving the overall physiological development of the bird, which is very, very critical for the future growth of the birds, especially in breeders. The body frame, fleshing that is putting on the muscles are always related to proper brooding conditions. So any problem with brooding will always lead to problems with productivity. So though the brooding is done at the beginning stage, if proper brooding is not done, then entire flock can get a problem, whether it is low productivity, high mortality, non-specific mortality. Most of the time we end up having heavy mortality, but no cause and no treatment can be done, where the brooding might be a problem. And proper brooding will make the bird to become very fully developed, and it can withstand all the problems which it can occur at a later stage. And also important thing is brooding helps in improving the immune status of the birds, because once the physical development happens, the immunity also develops well, which is necessary not only to prevent the disease outbreaks, but also to see that all the vaccines, there are several vaccinations are there, so each vaccine gets a proper immune response from the immune system. So for that, brooding is very, very critical. And after brooding, then the second phase of the growth is body weight management. Normally, any discrepancy in the body weights, that is if the body weights are not achieved in first 2 or 3 weeks, they can be adjusted by 4 weeks, or by 4 weeks all the body weight should be on the standard or slightly above the standard body weights prescribed by the particular breed, which is very essential. So this is the first phase, that is first 4 weeks are very critical. If the brooding is proper, you will get proper body weights. And Then the second phase comes is between 5 and 15 weeks, which is called growing phase. So growing phase is very, very critical because we need to maintain the body weights as low as possible, and the bird needs to be as lean as possible, because any increment in the feed given can cause overweight. So overweight birds at growing stage will always have a problem with the production or late maturity problems. So during 5 and 15 weeks, the body weight should be properly maintained, and feed increment should be given based on the actual body weight and not on the standard body weight or standard feed allocation. Even if the standard feed allocation is lower, no need to worry, because we are more interested in keeping the bird very lean. Because in growing period, see, these birds, breeders, act like broilers. Anytime we give slightly more feed, they tend to put on a lot of flesh. And if the birds put on a lot of flesh during the growing period, will affect their maturity at a later stage, because again, at a later stage, feeding will be a problem of these heavy birds. So, so maintaining the body weights at a growing stage is very, very critical. So 1 or 2 grams per week only feed can be increased. And suppose if the body weight is too high, then 1 week can be skipped so that body weight can be maintained properly. So any increment in body weight will allow the birds to put on a lot of flesh, that is muscles. So heavy muscled birds will not mature properly, and they always have problems with the productivity. Then third phase is 16 to 20 weeks, very, very critical, because this is the time where reproductive organs start growing. And during this period, the birds require more feed. So normally what happens is, if the birds are fed more feed during 5 and 15 weeks, then 16 to 20 weeks, normally feed is controlled, and such birds will not mature, or there is a delayed maturity and they remain non-layers for a longer period. So if the feed is controlled between 5 and 15 weeks, the whatever saved feed can be used between 16 and 20 weeks, so that the overall consumption of the feed is the same what is prescribed by the standards. So 16 to 20 weeks is the major transformation happening in the bird in terms of reproduction, hormonal development, hormonal secretions, and bird is making it herself ready for the production, especially the calcium metabolism, because the bird will start transforming, because it has to develop all the organs so that the bird can produce a normal egg. So that is why 16 to 20 weeks feeding is very, very critical. So whatever weight gain per week is required has to be met in these 4 weeks by giving appropriate quantity of feed. Even if it is above the standard, the feed should be given. And my suggestion is, if you consider each grade as a flock, so that it can be maintained the required way, that is giving more feed during 16 to 20 weeks, so that the bird maturity will be attained properly. Then after 20 weeks, again, feed can be restricted for 3 to 4 or 2 to 3 grams till the production starts. If the feed is given more between 21, 22, 23 weeks, actually that will actually accumulate a lot of fat, and that will lead to a lot of double yolk eggs. So double yolk eggs also will cause a lot of problems like prolapse or mortality, and many other issues. So controlling feed between 21 and production is very critical. Again, based on the body weight, 2 to 4 gram feed can be increased till the production is started. So once the production starts, the feeding can be done based on the productivity. So example is, if there is a increase in 5% improvement in jump in egg production, initially 3 grams can be given for every 5% production, and after say 35-40% production is achieved, the feed can be increased to 4 to 5 grams for every 5% production, so that egg weight can be maintained. Also, percentage of double oaks can be controlled. And based on the season, peak feed can be decided. And with the high energy feed, the birds can give good peak production with 158 to 160 grams. And if depending on the season, this feed can be achieved by 60% of production. And after the 3 to 4 weeks, based on depending on the production, feed withdrawal can be started by reducing 1 to 2 grams per week, and minimum feed can be brought to 152 or 153 grams. Again, depends on the season. If it is a winter season, maybe 2-3 grams higher feed can be given for the body maintenance. And there are two important criteria to maintain the feed quantity. One is body weight, and second one is egg weight. So both can be correlated to take a decision on giving the feed quantity. So if the feed weight, if the egg weight is increasing, then feed can be withdrawn fast, so that egg weight can be maintained. Because many flocks, if the feed is not withdrawn, the egg weight can go as high as 75 grams, which is very difficult to maintain such eggs because of shell quality problems. And these eggs can break very easily, and always we have problem with the big eggs. So properly giving proper quantity of feed is very, very critical to maintain the egg weight. So this is about the productivity. Then coming to grading, so minimum 3 grades have to be done during the growing period. The first one is as early as possible, that is 28 to 30 days, which is ideal. And these 4 grades can be maintained properly. And second grade at 8 to 10 weeks, and third grade 14 to 15 weeks. Then after housing the birds, after 16 weeks, when the birds are housed, comb grading or grading based on the pelvic bone opening can be done. And it is better to avoid mixing of the birds between the grades. Normally what happens is, when the bird comes to lay, many farmers, they put all the laying birds into one row, so that it becomes easy for them to do the artificial insemination, which should be avoided, because there is mix up of feed quantity, because there will be some birds which are getting less quantity, and suddenly if the bird gets higher quantity when it is moved to a laying line, so it can put on a lot of weight. So it is better to keep laying birds in the same line, and slowly, based on the production jump, feed can be allocated to the entire row, so that it becomes easy to achieve the peak feed. So for this, grading is very, very important. So 100% grading, and all the body weights and grading should be done on dry weight basis. That means before feeding, because if the body weights are taken after feeding, it will the weight will be added by consumption of feed and water. So it is better to take dry weights, so that you get the proper weights. And if the birds are in cages, better to mark the cages, and so that every time the same birds are weighed, so that we get more accuracy. And even in grading also, many grading is a big task, big operation. So it has to be done properly. And if there is a large flock, it can be completed in 2 to 3 days, instead of hurrying up, we can completing one day, because if we do grading, it has to be done properly. So once the grading is done, the grades are maintained till the end. So it is better to avoid mixing of the grades at a later stage when the birds start producing. So that the feeding also has to be done based on the grades, then body weights, and like I mentioned earlier. So these grades can be maintained properly. Then light control is very critical in heavy breeds, because we have 2 seasons. It is called out of season and in-season flocks. So in-season flock is one which is brooded during the winter period, and the production comes at summer period, where winter has less intensity, light intensity naturally, and the length of the day length is also shorter, so that the production commences at normal stage. So this is called in-season flock. And out-of-season flock is which is brooded during summer, where the light intensity is very high. Also, the day length is longer. And when these birds come to lay, that time the light is intensity is less, plus day length is lower. That's why these birds are always late by 1 or 2 weeks. And if they are not properly managed, there can be delay of 3 to 4 weeks in egg production. So for the heavy birds, light control is very, very essential. So light control can be done by using putting on shade nets and try to maintain light intensity below 100 lux. So this will help bird to receive the light when it is light stimulated. And this light control has to be done between 5 and 21 weeks. So when the birds are moved to grower cages or grower farm, so curtains can be tied up both the sides so that less light passes into the shed. Also see that there is adequate ventilation so that fresh air also gets inside. And this can be maintained till 21 weeks. And if the birds are in cages and move to layer cages, there also the shade net has to be moved and tied so that they get less light. By doing this, you can actually avoid variation happening because of the day length and intensity. So when the light is very less, when they are stimulated at 22 weeks, the lighting should be started at 22 weeks, or that is 148 days. And depending on the uniformity of the flock, it can be delayed by another 1 week. So if the uniformity and body weights are poor, then lighting can be delayed by one week, so that they get the body frame develops properly and they receive light properly. So by doing this, we can avoid all the issues with maturity. And when the birds are exposed to light at 22 weeks, there is a synchronization of the maturity, and most of the birds start laying at the same age. So this is what is called light control. And it has to see many farms, what they do is they do light control only up to 16 weeks, because after 16 weeks they are moved to layer cages or layer house where there is no light control done. And actually this leads to a lot of issues, because when the birds receive light only for 16 weeks, when they are exposed to higher after 16 weeks, they are not ready to receive the light. But some birds with higher body weights, they mature early and they start early production, but they don't go to peak, and suddenly there is drop in production, they become non-layers. So that's why if you see a lot of birds becoming non-layers after 45 weeks, it is most probably because of the improper lighting during the growing period. So that's why if we are doing light control, and it has to be done because these are high yielding birds, so the light control should be done between 5 and 21 weeks of age. So appropriate arrangements to be made when the birds are moved to cages. So this is general about a few points on management. Then coming to disease control, the major problem which affects our productivity and hatchability is mycoplasma. So today we have two strains of mycoplasma affecting the birds. One is Mycoplasma gallisepticum and Mycoplasma synoviale. So one proper anti-mycoplasma program has to be done right from day one, because most of the breeder farms are multi-age group. So always there is a threat of infection happening, infection getting inside. And most of the time, this is a subclinical infection. And whenever there is a stress on the birds, the mycoplasma sheds into the eggs and it is transmitted vertically to the chicks, affecting chick quality also and performance of the chicks. So there are different ways to control mycoplasma. One, by using the vaccines. If the vaccines are used, then proper vaccination has to be done. But as of now, there is a limited availability of vaccines against Mycoplasma synoviale. which is a major problem which we are encountering these days. Gallisepticum is it's not so difficult to control, but Mycoplasma synoviae is one which spreads very fast, and the titers remain very high. So MS is again a major problem which causes drop in production and hatchability. So if the chemicals are used, so proper selection of the anti-mycoplasma drugs is important during growing period and laying period also, and it has to be strictly followed, and especially during very hot summer and very severe winters, the infection can spread very fast, and this can lead to many problems. And it is also important to control E. coli, because if E. coli is not controlled, then mycoplasma control becomes difficult, because both these organisms coexist. So depending on the situation, the program for controlling E. coli and mycoplasma has to be done. So this is in general about mycoplasma, because mycoplasma has a lot of effect on the productivity. So just I wanted to bring out these few points. If these are properly managed, the performance of each flock can be taken properly, and you can get always a better productivity in terms of egg production, hatchability, and chick quality, which will help for the integrators to improve their economic status. So thank you for patience hearing, and if you have any questions, maybe you can send mails, or you can talk to me over the phone. I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was a really wonderful session. I'm so thankful to you. If you can take out the slide, I just wanted to ask you one small question. Can I ask you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Now in the northern part, winter is going to be very harsh.
Yes.
So though you touched that point, I just wanted to ask you, is there any special precaution has to be taken during this winter, because it's going to be harsh in northern India now onwards?
See, especially in North India, there is major issue is during the production is when the temperatures go very low, maybe below 10 degrees, the curtains are not raised. So what happens is, one is lot of ammonia accumulates inside, and the natural light doesn't come inside. So wherever there are EC sheds, the problem is, of course, the lighting, artificial lighting is enough, because these birds are grown in dark out housing. But the major problem is ammonia, because they cannot remove the curtains. And in EC sheds, what happens is, during the winter, the fans will not run, because these are exhaust fans. They are automatic. When the temperature drops, they don't run. So that ammonia gets accumulated. And because of this ammonia, egg productivity is affected. So production drop is always there. So my suggestion is, as and when the temperature increases during the daytime, at least some fans should be switched on, so that all the ammonia goes out. And again, the lighting has to be arranged properly. If the bird gets natural daylight, then the light intensity has to be adjusted inside these sheds. And third thing is, since the temperature is very low, bird requires more maintenance energy. So the feed can be increased a little bit depending on the temperature. 5 to 7 grams feed can be increased, so that the birds get maintenance energy. And it is better to use high energy diets, so that bird gets proper maintenance energy. So which is very critical for the winters in North India.
Okay. I think you have touched a very valid point. I think it's a very good input. Thank you so much once again. And I'm so privileged. Thank you.
Thanks.
And through this small efforts as a knowledge series from Grow Excel, if it can add value in poultry business, we feel so happy. We feel so privileged. Thank you one and all. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.